Hello and welcome back to the Gfinity Masters. I am Aquablad and joining me here is Caldi, and we are into the semi-finals with two players who have come up from the qualifiers, and one of them is going to be very happy to go through and face the world champion Firebat, and the other one's going to go home.
With $500 though, so it's definitely like not going to be a sad loss. But we have Zozus, the Polish player, coming through the qualifier. He's really been playing excellent Hearthstone. He beat Amaz twice and took out Nyria in the round of 8. So hell of a performance from him, and really a breakout performance, I'd say. I actually played this guy in the qualifiers, and an absolute beast. He's been doing really well with his rogue, also with his demon lock. He plays. Notably plays Molten Giants as Demon Lock, so player definitely to watch out for.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. I've cast quite a few of his games now, so I've been very impressed with what he's done. I'm very impressed with his hand lock, some of the decisions he's made with the deck choices. But he'll be going up against my teammate, actually, Sottle, who plays for Team Infused. And Sottle's been doing really well. Like, he had a bad start with his Tempo Mage during the group stages, but Tempo Mage has really been doing some work since then. So it's going to be an exciting match, having two of the lesser known players going at it for that opportunity to face against the world champion.
Definitely two qualifier players here as well. I think Sottle especially, like, he's a player that all the pros know about, but he hasn't had a breakout performance. But this here could definitely be it now. Now going into game number 1, we see a Warlock versus Warlock, an interesting one.
So both these Warlock decks are very different because obviously we've seen the demons from Zozus, but Sottle's playing a more traditional handlock, which is something he's more familiar with. He's played a lot of handlock. He played a lot on his stream in his early days when he was first started streaming. So it's going to be interesting to see how the differences in these decks affect the actual matchup.
He has the absolute god hand here. Sottle has two Twilight Drakes and a Mountain Giant. It couldn't be better, but he kept a big game hunter, and that makes me a bit nervous for him. Because does he know that this is a demon lock? If he knew that there's only one big game target, and that's the Mal'Ganis, so that makes me a bit.
Oh no, he does run giants as well. Remember that
the Molten Giants, but there's
and Mountain
and Mountain Giants as well. Wow.
I think he's cut out the Twilight Drakes for the demon cards and a few other cards, like maybe an extra Siphon Soul and stuff.
Interesting.
So like you said, Sottle's got a really good hand here. He's got those Twilight Drakes. They're really good for the board. They're quite hard for a Warlock to clear unless he's got those Mortal Coils and those Owls ready. But he also has that first Giant, and he has the big game hunter to deal with his first Giant.
I think a big thing here will be the Shadow Flame, is really crucial. And traditionally, Demon Lock has been kind of hindered in this matchup as it doesn't have as fast of a Shadow Flame with no Moltens. But if this is actually, this Demon Lock is actually running Moltens, but traditionally I would give the favor to the traditional handlock over the demon lock there.
Oh wait, he is actually playing Twilight. I don't know where he's cut to make these what they call Void Callers fit into this deck. But yeah, so the Giant can't actually challenge the Twilight Drake just yet with a 10 health without using the Dark Bomb. What do you think Sottle's line of play should be here? Should he just develop the board a bit more?
I think it should be the Twilight Drake, I'd say. It seems to be the right call, and just go face.
Oh, so he hits him for 8 in the face, and they both kind of play around their own Molten Giant. So this is where kind of the technical side of the handlock mirror comes, like how much damage you're willing to deal and trying to kind of set up a lethal turn, I guess.
I remember back in the old days when the Leroy wasn't nerfed, players played a Leroy and 2 Faceless. So if this situation came up that you had a Mountain Giant that stayed alive, it would almost always just be over in the mirror as the guy would just faceless him. But they also came up with a situation where the opponent could faceless the opponent's Mountain Giant for value. But yeah, this is quite the string turn now. We see a Mountain Giant come down, the Owl and the Mortal Coil. It couldn't be better. No Shadow Flame here for Sottle, so he's kinda, it's kinda looking a bit rough for him. He might actually need to tap.
Might have to he's forced to play the big game hunter here just to deal with that Giant and regain a bit of the board. But I guess his decision here is, does he tap and maybe draw something a bit more useful like a Mortal Coil to deal with that Owl, or does he go for the Dark Bomb play?
I think I would have liked him to tap first, I mean, the Dark Bomb isn't ideal here, and if he had gotten the Shadow Flame, it would have been better than playing the big game, in my opinion. Could have cleared 3 minions there.
But he gets to clear the Twilight Drake. Let's have a look. So one thing that might change this matchup a little bit more is the Zombie Chow inclusion into Zozus' deck. It doesn't really do anything in this matchup, and Sottle's version of Handlocked is quite greedy. He plays Boom, Rag, all the Giants, Sylvanas, he has a lot of greedy things. So do you think that will play a major role? Because I think he might be running 2 Zombie Chows.
Probably not, but it may be kind of interesting as it could possibly heal up the opponent, denying the Molten Giants, but yeah, I think earlier on there was a possibility when you had the 4 health Mountain Giant to the 1 health Owl there to have played a Hellfire if he had it in the hand, because Hellfire is really a dead card usually in Handlock versus Handlock. But now the Sylvanas coming down, I mean he could just trade into it. I think no matter what he's gonna tap here at least, so I think he should probably start with that.
So he gets another Giant, but that's not going to be much use to him just yet. I guess he was hoping for something like a Belcher, but I think the Twilight Drake's fine. You know, it's quite bulky with its health gained from his hand size, so a 4/9's nothing to scoff at this point.
Yeah, I think there's actually no card that he would want. You just want to have an extra card in hand, I'd say, yeah. But I mean, the Shadow Flame is always nice, I suppose.
So the Dr. Boom comes down, and it's actually had a lot of impact on some of the games we've had today. How can Sottle respond to this? He's got the Hellfire, like I said, it's a bit dead, but it does clear the Boom bots. And he could potentially clear the Dr. Boom with his Drake, but he's probably cautious of where these Boom bots are going to go. Will it clear his board? What do you think?
I think you just tap again. Like, there's no 8 mana play here of any real value, so I think you just essentially tap. You know, Mortal could have been nice. You know, even potentially a Siphon Soul. So.
Oh, he gets another Molten Giant, so he does have a turn where he might have a turn coming up where he can play both of them, maybe to taunt them up. And we do see a Shadow Flame in Zozus' hand, but we don't see anything quite big enough to deal with that board if he does get to establish it later.
Goes for the Dark, but I wonder what he follows this up with. Just passing, I suppose?
I mean, if he decides maybe to Argus, he gives an extra health, but we know the Dark Bombs, do bounce about, and it could just be a waste of time.
I think I would actually prefer like attacking in and going for the Hellfire instead of the Dark Bomb. I mean, because the Hellfire is much less valuable than the Dark Bomb, even though it's a 4 mana card versus a 2 mana card. And if you have a 2 Molten Giant hand, you can be pretty sure that your opponent is going to gain less from losing health than you are. Also with the Jiraxxus in hand and the heal pot, so yeah, I think going for the Hellfire there would have been better.
Oh, this Giant could be troublesome for Sottle unless he draws some form of removal. Siphon Soul could help him here. But as it stands, it's looking a bit tough actually, because he's just used that Dark Bomb to clean up the Dr. Boom. But the Belcher will help him stall it out just a little bit. It might force the Mountain Giant to hit it and reduce its health, and maybe that Hellfire can come into play a little bit later. But what do you think Sottle has to do now to regain his board?
It's rough. He'll probably need to tap, I'd say, again. But I mean, there is the possibility of going for a Hellfire now and trying to play 2 Moltens in the Sun Fury. Depends on how hard the Boom bot hits, but it's really rough now.
Be coming up soon, and he might get an opportunity to get a good board clear. It looks like he's just going to develop a board to kind of protect his health, maybe from that Boom bot.
Not sure I like this actually.
Do you think he could have held on to that and play a bit more patient with that 2 mana?
I mean, he didn't want to overdraw, I suppose, so that's probably why he went for this. But I don't know. With 2 Molten Giants and a Jiraxxus, I would think there's probably more value in the Sun Fury than the Owl. But it's a bit iffy. If he knew that there was 2 Shadow Flames, obviously the Owl is stronger than the Sun Fury.
But obviously we've seen a Sylvanas from Zozus, so that Owl's had done its purpose almost in that extent. But maybe an Owl could come into play on the Mal'Ganis, you know, maybe set up a lethal or something. We don't know yet.
And even the White Color, yeah. So there's a lot of possibilities.
So that's a big play, I think, for Zozus. He's that potential Shadow Flame coming up. And he gets probably to clear this Belcher pretty effectively. And if he taunts up the Boombot, he'll be able to kill the token as well without actually losing his Boombot.
The Slime there being a 1/2, but looking at this, yeah, 1 mana off being able to clear the Mountain Giant. But this is, yeah,
So that's a 9-mana Shadow Flame, and he does get Dr. Boom, but it won't be enough. If he decides to play, he needs to protect himself.
Like, he can technically attack into the boom bot, hope it goes phase, and you know, if he hits for 4 for phase, he could technically, you know, Shadow Flame with a Molten. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world there, but it's
a risky play.
I mean, he hasn't seen a single Shadow Flame, so going for the live tap double Molten Sun Fury is just
too risky right now.
It's almost, you know, giving up, I'd say. But if he goes for the attack on the boom bot, this gives him a slight chance of doing it. But now it hits the Sun Fury there.
So he gets 4 damage and cleans up the Sun Fury. He didn't want that. He wanted to be able to play these Molten Giants, hopefully for either for 3 or 1 mana, and then be able to Shadow Flame. But Lopez really locked out his turn here. He might just have to heal bot and maybe Argus it up just to create some protection from this damage that Zozus has on the board.
He'll basically have to, I guess, try to hang on here and go for the Molten Giant Shadow Flame on the following turn, but it's going to be pretty rough now to hold on.
And we know that the Shadow Flame is in Zozus' hand, so he does have an easy clear if he needs it somewhere. So we're going to see a Molten Giant followed by an Argus.
We see Sottle shaking, he's really not happy with that. I mean, it's a situation where every play feels suboptimal. That's a part of the game, I suppose, now.
So Zozus really taking the lead in this matchup. We haven't really seen how much the demons have affected the matchup in general yet. That might come a bit later, but at the moment Sottle is quite behind, and I wonder how he's going to approach this. He can just straight up clear this giant with his own giant and not waste a Shadow Flame and maybe keep it for later, which is pretty good for him because obviously there's going to become more situations where he can use that Shadow Flame.
You get like the Belcher plus maybe one color here, but he doesn't need to be in a hurry at all. He doesn't want to overextend this one, so you probably want to kill and just the possibly the Archer, it depends if you're going to go face or not. But
so he plays a giant of his own. I guess do you leave him at 50 health then? Or are we at that point where we're at 10 mana where it doesn't really matter?
I think you leave him at 15 health. Yeah.
So the Mortal Coil's not going to do much. So he still has the Shadow Flame, he still has a Molten Giant, he still has some options to clear this board.
I think it's gonna come down to just, you know, hero power Molten Giant Shadow Flame at this point, but it's not pretty at all.
Because we can already see that Zozus still has a lot of options in his hand coming into the next turn. And with a Belcher as well, he has an anti-heal bot to heal his belt. He's got a lot of protection, but he's got a lot of board clear as well within those Shadow Flames. And Jiraxxus as well, they're both sitting on Jiraxxus.
There's possibilities also of potentially go for the Hellfire there, but now you can almost clear with the Ancient Watcher, but they just have to go for the Molten Giant Shadow Flame now. But this is really a big resource he's spending here just to even up the game, and all the tempos in Zozus' favor, so things really not looking good for Sottle here.
Yeah, Sottle's in a situation where he's just kind of reacting to what Zozus is playing. He doesn't want to be in that situation. He wants to be in a position now where he can start building his own board, start building his own offense, and he's not really been given an opportunity to do that yet.
It gets to these turns where the player that has the tempo has too big of a board, I guess, for the defending player to leave up, so he'll have to clear every single turn, you know, until they kind of both, you know, run out of big threats, and then they go for the Dragster. Then the Dragster, actually, this is... Yeah, this is interesting.
I guess he doesn't have any more giants in his hand. Maybe he's thinking that he can use the hero power now to start creating more board pressure.
Now, kind of like the Dr. Boom here, but this... Going for the Jiraxxus there suggests that he has something like a Hellfire, Dark Bomb there. Some real aggression, but yeah, I think it would be risky to tap now at this point.
So many possibilities.
I think I like Dr. Boom the best here. Yeah.
Do you taunt it up, or do you save these taunts for your own Jiraxxus?
You go for the Ancient Watcher, so you can silence that.
Oh, that's true. I mean, the Siambeak Owl isn't going to be silenced much more probably unless he decides to silence a Void Caller, for example.
But if you have an Ancient Watcher on board, you can both silence a taunt that comes up. You can silence the Ancient Watcher for 4 damage, and you also have the Hellfire to follow up, so that's 7 burst damage. You have the Boom Bots, that's, you know, could be a lot of potential burst, but yeah, you at least have the Big Game Hunter, and he could possibly blow that up, or mean, there's a lot of options, you know, for Zozus. He can do whatever he wants at this point.
So the big game hunter's going to clean up this Doctor Boom quite easily. I wonder how these boom bots are going to come into effect, because obviously he's stuck on 15 health now, and he does have an anti-heal bot, so it's not that much danger.
I think I just like a hero power Balcer here attack with the weapon, but yeah, Shadow Flame is just too valuable to spend on these small minions here.
And he does exactly that. He knows he's in a comfortable position. He has no rush, so he's just about to board all of those 6/6s, and Sottle is looking really rough for him right now. I'm not sure what he can do to kind of fight this back without playing his own Jiraxis, but that's just way too risky, I think.
I think this is a tap turn for sure. You have to tap here.
What would you be looking for from this tap? What would change the course of the game?
That's a good question, yeah.
Both Molten Giants are gone. We have the Shadow Flame, but if those Molten Giants are not there, he's not going to have an opportunity to clear the board that effectively. And of course, because he's Jiraxis before him, he's just going to keep making 6/6s every turn.
I guess a Dark Bomb would be okay here. It depends. But still really rough. This is, yeah, not a position you want to be in.
He's hovering over the tap. He's considering it. He's probably thinking about what he does need and what he has left. And you say a Dark Bomb might be something that can help him, but is that just... Does the Dark Bomb just stall the inevitable, or...?
It really does at this point, yeah. Wow. Okay. Only one. Yeah, he had to hit for one more to use the influence out of him there. But yeah, we can see what a Belcher and a heal bot or what? Just diving again.
So he's really on the defensive here, trying to heal back up, build a bit of a wall with the Sludge Belcher. Oh man, he's got so many options. He can just Shadow Flame one of these 6/6s or the 6/5. No, I guess you go for the 6s because uses his weapon and just keeps developing its board.
Yeah, really easy turn here for Zozus, but yeah, 9 health, there's no Moltens left, there's almost no hope left at this point.
I mean, playing Jiraxis now is a heal to an extent, but it's just not enough. He's just really far behind, and he's only got 7 cards left in deck, and like we said, we've already seen these Molten Giants, and he's not going to have an opportunity to play anything probably big enough to Shadow Flame again, unless he gets that Jiraxis down and starts using that hero power.
I mean, he has to figure at this point that this Void Color will be for huge value, so he's going to go down and throw down the silence here. I wonder if he's going to go for the Ancient Notes or Shadow Flame, but then maybe throw the Mortal Coil on him.
Oh, that's pretty good. I guess he clears the board. He may draw some help in next turn. Oh no, he keeps the token stays alive. But here comes the other owl, and he throws out the well played. I think he knows it's too much of an uphill battle for Sottle here.
It really is at this point. But I mean, Zozus really doesn't have a lot of burst though, so this will be a slow death, but it seems to be inevitable at this point.
And yeah, and like you said, like Zozus can just play the token, play another Void Caller, pass, and he's in no rush at this point. He's got so much of the advantage.
Yeah, Mal'Ganis really spotted there.
And yeah, we're still yet to see Doomguard and Mal'Ganis, and Doomguard can obviously have a quick impact on the board at this point because Sottle's so low, but I don't think there's a lot that can save him. Even if he Siphon Souls to 6/6, another one is made next turn, and we still have the Doomguard and Mal'Ganis to deal with.
Yeah, this is... yeah, I mean, if you spend 6 mana on just clearing a token, it's not really a nice position there. I mean, what else can they do? I mean, yeah, it's just getting to the point.
So Sottle's just going through his options, I guess. I think Sottle, from the well played on the previous turn, has come to accept his fate, but every player should probably just go through his options. You saw Firebat do it earlier in a game which he probably considered he had lost, but he just went through his options just to make sure there's nothing there.
Just give him some possibilities, but you know what, Cypher and silence the Void Color, but there's nothing, as we see from the hand, nothing from the Void Color to come up. But I mean, you must suspect that there's Mal'Ganis. He plays nothing. Goes for the owl. And one up with him now. We see the Doomguard, so that's.
And there's the Doomguard, so that will tie the game up for Zozus, taking a 1-0 lead over Sottle with his Demon Handlock. Even though the Demons didn't really do much in this match because they didn't really come into play into what happened.
Definitely arrived late to the party there, showing up what 7th last card was the Doomgar, and we had Mal'Ganis didn't show up at all. The Void Colors were played around 15 or so.
Yeah. So Zozus probably feeling really good right now. He's just had his victory against. He played, like you said, he beat Amaz, he beat Nyria, so he's beaten some really high-profile players, and now he's facing a qualifier. So maybe he's feeling a bit more confident now because he's maybe considered someone who's kind of on the same level as him now, same kind of level of fame also. So he's just, yeah, I think he's really confident. What do you think Sottle needs to do like now to get ahead?
He basically has to crush the Rogue, I think, at this point. Zozus has Rogue and Druid left now, and Sottle has the Mage, the Handlock, and the Druid. So I think the Rogue will be the key here, because the Rogue really doesn't. It just completely destroys the Mage that Sottle is bringing. So he cannot bring the Mage at least out, and I'd say Druid or Handlock is likely now.
So we're going into the next game, and it's actually going to be a Druid mirror. And we've already seen one of these today, and let's just hope this goes a little bit better.
A second mirror now in a row, so these players, really a lot of mind games going on, and kind of rough hands for both of them. But we do see the Valor Growth for Zozus, the Coin, Innovate, and the Ancient of Lore for Sottle. So it's, yeah.
That's really strong, because he gets that turn 4 Ancient of Lore to recharge his hand, and he gets the 5/5 as well if he chooses to go down that play.
I actually prefer Zozus's hand though. Having a 5-drop, 6-drop, and a 7-drop with the Wild Growth is really brutal. Essentially, this
and
an
Innovate.
Wow, this really puts it in his favor. I mean,
so he plays the Wild Growth. We get the well played from the other Druid player, and the Fangs.
The second swipe at this point, it's almost useless at this point. Yeah, and he has to do Hero Power. There's no way you can go with this Sylvanas at this point.
I mean, developing the Druid of the Claw here with the Innovate and the Coin doesn't seem that great. But Zozus goes for the Hero Power and hits him and then passes.
Now can Zozus top deck a Shredder? Oh, second Innovate. I think you absolutely go for the Lord now.
Well, he can actually save his Innovate for next turn. He places the Sylvanas now, which is just an awkward card to deal with this early. And then next turn he gets another 5/5 and 2 more cards with the Innovate.
And he can technically just swipe and Hero Power this down. I mean, he has 2 swipes to get rid of, so... But that would, I guess, put him in an awkward position next turn, because he would have to play a swipe or a keeper or a Hero Power then. But yeah, I mean, is there any better play, I suppose?
I don't see one. Does he want to save? There's an Innovate and Coin for his own Ancient of Lore, but he's far behind now. He needs to deal with his 5/5 before it starts doing some damage or even steals anything.
He could also just go for the Sylvanas himself. I mean, that's another way to look at it, I guess. But I think the Sylvanas is worth way more than the swipe, in my opinion, in the mirror. Really, as a swing card against Druid. But yeah. So
do you think the Silence is any good?
It's basically mainly good against the Sylvanas. That's I mean, after Shade is attacked, you can kind of deal with it, but usually after Shade is attacked, it's probably at like 3 or 4 health, generally.
So
interesting play.
So he does build the Druid of the Claw, but I guess this is a bit awkward for Zozus, because obviously he wants to start clearing the board, but he probably also wants to drop this Ancient of Lore. Do you think it's just probably better just to drop the Ancient of Lore, get the cards?
Yeah, I'd say so. This is... But then we could have a situation where there's a swipe coming down for a lot of value, but yeah.
I mean, you could do the Druid of the Claw, and then you could Innovate the Wrath, and then clear the other Druid of the Claw with his Sylvanas, and he gets to draw a card anyway.
But the reason I don't like this from Sottle is if Zozus doesn't attack, it makes it so awkward that I really highly doubt that he'll attack. Yeah, no attack, and what does he do now? Just go for a keeper, I suppose? But it's still... It's just a tempo behind. And that's really the only place you want to be as the Druid there.
And as you're saying, these 2 swipes are kind of clogging up the hand here. I mean, he does have the option to silence the Sylvanas now, and then he can develop his own Sylvanas next turn with the Coin, but I guess that's what he might go for. At least then, when he does develop his Sylvanas next turn, he can maybe regain the board if he gets a good trade. but it's just a bit awkward, that's all. And he passes too, so he doesn't want to give an opportunity for Zozus to clean up this Druid easily.
I think one thing for sure, that the swipe might be really strong next turn for Sottle there. So I think he has potential to come back, especially with Sylvanas. If the Druid has, opposite Druid has 3 minions on board and you jam a Sylvanas in there, it's just bound to get value at some point. Depends though here.
It's a shame you drew that Wild Growth. It's not really going to be that useful at the moment, and as me and Admirable were discussing earlier, that Druids do get into these situations where they draw some kind of dead cards, like 2 swipes is not that useful. The swipe could be handy now, but earlier they just didn't do anything for him. So he just decided to use a Wrath there, and he's just going to clean the board up. So do you think... Oh, and he's going to innovate out the Druid. I decided to...
Charging or what?
So he just goes for another taunt.
Oh, interesting. Really interesting. I think Sylvanas is a no-brainer here, though. Yeah.
What's interesting is the hand advantage now, because Sottle has a lot of stuff in hand. As you said, Sylvanas is really good now, but obviously we've got the Ancient of Law coming down. He's going to draw 3 more cards, including his draw from his turn. So yeah, Zozus has such a good hand. It's really oh, and he gets the Grove.
The silence there, Jesus. How lucky can you be, Jesus? And then the story there. Wow.
Sottle must be feeling terrible right now, seeing that silence come off the top. And Zozus continues to put on pressure with this really strong board. And Sottle just hasn't drawn any answers. He draws another Wrath, so he gets clogged up his hand with 2 swipes, 2 Wraths, and a Wild Growth. He has the Ancient of Law for next turn, but it might be too late by then.
Yeah, at this point, there's not much you can do at this point. I think maybe a draw for 1, I guess, and to go for the swipe. But overall, he doesn't kill both the Druids, and I guess he's basically praying for Zozus to have like an innovate in his hand. So we do see that it's the Ancient of Lore, and a Zombie Toe coming down. That's not too good.
That's good for Sottle, but I doubt we'll see play at the moment. He might. I guess he just plays it now. Do you think that's correct? Are you fine with that?
I think so. Yeah. There's no better time to play it, but
behind the taunt as well, which helps.
I think now if Zozus draws like good or mediocre cards the next 2 rounds, he will win. But if he doesn't, I think he'll probably lose.
So he just has a swipe on the Wrath, so we can clear up a couple of things, but perhaps not enough. Is a Force of Nature even an option here? Not really, because it just kills 1 minion. So maybe he just goes for the card draw here, just try and dig deep into his deck to find something. Oh, gets another Ancient of Law.
I'm not sure I like that at all, actually. I think the heal might even be a possibility if you're 4 cards ahead on anyhow. We do see the Savage Sword coming down now, and Zozus is taking a 2-0 lead. A disaster for Sottle here.
So what does Zozus have? Oil Rogue left, which is a very explosive deck, which has the capability to beat quite a lot of decks in the meta right now. And this is not looking good for Sottle.
Yeah, the Rogue can beat almost anything, and it's especially favored against the Mage like we talked about. But Sottle does have the handlock at least, and the Druid can do okay against the Rogue, but it depends on the draw again, so Zozus is in a commanding lead now, looking to go to the finals.
So what would you pick now? Do you just try to get some wins on the board with, say, handlock, for example?
He will have to play all the decks against Oil Rogues. I think at this point the order doesn't really matter at this point. Yeah. I mean, he's going home if he loses, a single game now, Sottle, so it doesn't really matter. Maybe Mage just will go alphabetical, I guess.
So Zozus needs 1 more game to go to the finals against Firebat. I wonder if nerves are playing on him now. He must be feeling a bit of pressure, but he had two very comfortable wins where Sottle really couldn't establish a board, so he must be feeling quite confident right now. But this is a high stakes tournament right now with his big money on the line coming up into the finals. So yeah, I wonder what's going through their heads, especially Sottle.
I mean, he won 2 mirrors, so that's quite huge, and the Oil Rogue is favored against the only deck that's different, I suppose, the Rogue and the Mage now. But yeah, now looking at the 3rd game now here, it's gonna be handlock against Oil Rogue. An interesting matchup, and we do see Zozus with the coin, so that's definitely a big thing now.
Yeah, so this is, I would say, one of Sottle's strongest decks from knowing him. He's played this a lot, so maybe he's thinking, just get that win with my strong deck. You know, just I need to get a score on the board to go forward. So if I pick my best deck and win, it's just it can only go better from there. And if he just picked like some Tempo Mage, which hasn't been doing, it's kind of had up and downs this tournament with Tempo Mage. So I think picking Handlock's fine for him because it is his strongest deck.
May give him the confidence, I guess, to take the series down, but not having the coin is a big thing now. A huge boost for the rogue. We do see a really heavy hand here. Archer take 2 sprints. It's maybe even too slow.
Sottle's got that Twilight Drake, so he does have something coming up. So he just gets a tap again this turn, and then next turn he develops a big Twilight Drake, which could be a bit of an issue for the rogue to deal with, or he might have to spend quite a few resources.
Tinker's Oil, again, really slow. There's no portal, there's only yeah. The one real removal spell as well with him straight there, but Twilight Drake being there's no Mountain Giant to follow it up, so that gets in a preparation.
Oh,
it's
wow.
Really a huge draw, the best possible draw there. But he can't actually go for the sprint, I believe. Yeah, you need to throw away the coin.
So he just goes for the clear here, so that's 5. Hits him with the Farseer, just uses his health, which his health is a non-issue right now, because he's up 30, taking forward is a big deal.
The thing is, because he has to just having to re-dagger, the 2 mana is
Oh,
actually
wow.
going to be huge, and the perfect top deck here.
So he actually deals with the Blood Mage Valnos quite efficiently with the Mortal Coil, recharges his hand with the draw, and then he just plays a Mountain Giant.
Absolutely perfect that draw. Now we do see a second Tinker's Oil and a backstab. This is just too much really. He was hoping for a sap or something here.
So the Blade Flurry is pretty good, I suppose, because he's got all those Tinkers ready, but... So he decides to go for the backstab. That's 3 damage. I guess he wants to utilize the backstab while the Drake's in play. He gets that spell power boost.
He just needs to stabilize here, Zozus, but I like Sottle's position at the moment. It's quite strong. Do you go Siphon or Sylvanas here? Plays the Siphon really fast. I think that was not...
He doesn't want his Mountain Giant to be threatened by the Azure Drake, and he probably does want to take his Mountain Giant down to 1 health as well, because it's quite an easy health for the rogue to deal with. But Sylvanas would have been okay as well, I guess, because his Mountain Giant's done a lot of work already.
I like the Siphons were better. I think it's a better play here for Sottle, but it just felt really... I mean, thinking 2 seconds about it and just not playing it, I don't know.
So do you think Zozus is going to go for maybe a prep SI then into a Tinkers?
I'm not sure you Tinker's so early. But there's really no ideal play here.
So he goes for the Tinkers first.
Go for what, 7 damage to face? I mean, 21. Yeah,
Wait, is he going for another Tinkers? Wow, okay, so taking... Wow, that's really aggressive.
I think he just really wants to sprint what's behind this here, but this is his, you know... I mean, this is his burst here for the lethal. And I mean, let's say, you know, Sottle just plays a heal bot and he's essentially almost won the game. That's how that goes. And you need to keep that huge burst to, you know, kill the giants and you know, clear for the final burst there. So we have an Eviscerate gone, both the Tinkers gone onto that dagger. So wonder if he just... wonder what you go for here.
I think this is... Do you think that was the correct play to use the Tinkers?
I mean, it's a really hard position, I suppose. Maybe just going for 1 in the SI is better, but I mean, at some point you'll have to clear, and you can't be sitting on, you know, 8 cards in hand forever with 2 sprints there.
Do you think a sprint might be a bit too late? Did Sottle not play anything? No, he didn't. Didn't tap, didn't play anything, so he... Just waiting for that Blade Flurry to come down. It's very rare you see a Handlock not use any mana at this point. But obviously he's telegraphed to Sottle that this Blade Flurry is going to come, and he's got a lot of minions in his hand, and he doesn't want to lose them. There's no point really. So what's Zozus going to do? I guess he just Blade Flurries?
I think tapping might have been a possibility there. I mean, you have Mal'Ganis as a possibility. You have the...
No, the Mal'Ganis was the Zozus one.
Oh,
this is just standard Handlock, yeah.
Alright. But there's heal bots as well. But he just want to play extra safe. Now 14 health,
This guy's
12 health.
Oh, we're going to see a Molten Giant coming very soon. I mean, he has some taunt activators in his hand. And a Dark Bomb too within the SI7, so I think these sprints might be just a bit too late.
It's feeling like that. Suppose you just go Twilight Drake, Molten Giant, and taunting up.
So you've seen 2 Tinkers, you've seen a Blade Flurry, you've seen a Viscerate. Tinkers are the spells that make those weapons so massive and so for those giant Blade Flurries, and we've just seen a giant Blade Flurry, but it cost him 2 Tinkers to do it, so I guess you're pretty comfortable here. Just play a Drake, maybe play a Giant, taunt them up, and just sit behind the taunts and hopefully close out this game.
I mean, he has one more Eviscerate. He has 2 Deadly Poisons left, so that's at least something now. But it's looking rough now for Zozus for sure here.
I assume he's going to use the Dark Bomb to clear the 3-3 here. And that's got 10 health as well.
I think he doesn't even taunt, not play the Dark Bomb.
Oh yeah, taunt up, so yeah, that's got 10 health as well. That's going to be a really hard for Zozus to deal with after using that Blade Flurry. Oh, we see the sap, but still, it's still really tough. He's going to need to prep with some other things to be able to deal with this board.
Deadly Poison's not gonna do it. Violent Teacher and Fire of Knives. So we do see Sottle taking now his first victory.
So he hits the Giant, and he's going to let Sottle finish the game. Honourable man.
Oh yeah.
And he
for the
uses
suicide there.
Oh, a bit of BM coming. A bit of mind games, perhaps. And he just gives the opportunity for Sottle to just play about, just relax a little bit. Sottle seems pretty happy with that one, actually.
Now we have Zozus still be playing the Oil Rogue again, and Sottle has the Druid and the Tempo Mage left. I think Druid is definitely the better matchup, but the Tempo Mage is still going to be the match that decides everything. I would think.
What would you do here? Would you play the Tempo Mage and just go for it, just try and get the victory on the board, and then you've got that good matchup for your final game? And once you have that good matchup, I was discussing this earlier, it's a bit of a mind game in itself, because you're like, if you're in Zozus' position, you're thinking, oh no, he's got a good matchup, he could potentially win this from then on. I think that's quite a good mentality to enforce on your opponent if you get that win with that weaker deck.
I think it's just mind games at this point. There's no actual game benefit to it, I would say, but it's a tough question. I think it depends on how your mentality is. If you're really like feeling a bit down, then maybe you'd want to go for the better matchup. But if you're feeling confident, you know, you could just get that kind of rip the band-aid off and just get that hard matchup out of the way. Yeah,
and I'm looking at Sottle's expression from when he won that game. He seemed pretty happy, so I would say maybe he's going to go for the mage here. So yeah, he goes for the mid mage as we've discussed now, which we're going to call it, and yeah, he's just going to go for this, try and get a win on the board, and then have that good matchup. And looking at his hand, that's pretty good.
I think though, you basically only keep the unstable portal at this point. It's a bit rough, but there are so many tempo cards though. Oh, he keeps the portal.
I maybe would have thrown a Kirin Top. I think Shredder's pretty decent because it's quite sticky, but the Zombie Chow's not really going to do a lot, is it? I mean,
the thing is, those are going to be the huge tempo swings
and the frost bolts and stuff. Yeah, of course. And then Stable Portal here can bring out anything from the game. I saw Sottle against Powder today. He got an Onyxia from the Unstable Portal. It was absolutely incredible.
Or is it?
Oh, Cenarius!
Wow. Oh my god.
Wow, even the crowd reacted to that. Wow, Cenarius is going to be coming down from a mage eventually.
It's so absurdly strong because you can't really. You still get the two minions if you zap it, and there's a Cenarius on the board there. And then Lothar. Wow, this curve is ridiculous now.
And this is what I was talking about with these mind games. I mean, if you're in Zozus' position and turn 6 sees a Cenarius come from the Stable Portal, that is huge.
I think like about like 60% of the secret mages, they don't run Flame Strike. A lot of them don't. I personally always run Flame Strike, and I think it's not going to be expected by Zozus unless he's been paying close attention to Zozus.
Well, Sottle did make some tweaks to this deck from the list which we had originally, which was from the H2K guide, and he did swap out a few cards, like the counter spot, for example, for a duplicate to make some basically give you a card draw in essence, two extra cards. Yeah, the Flame Strike. I didn't actually know about the Flame Strike until much later. No. So we get the Shredder down here, very sticky minion is going to stay on the board, but the teacher is going to be able to develop a few tokens, but like you said, that you've got the Flame Strike there, it might not be as much of an issue as we thought.
It's going to sap it, interesting. I guess it's an okay sap target, I suppose. I mean, but I guess Rag or Sylvanas would be better, but looking at this hand, I think Lothar would have been as strong a play there as sapping the Paladin Sweater. Usually Lothar coming down now. Interesting as well.
So he locks out the potential of this Violet Teacher playing more spells, gaining more tomes, and then he has a coin next to him with the Flame Strike.
And time for surprise now with scenarios. You could also coin out the Flame Strike, I see.
Or he just drops Scenarius if he's feeling comfortable. But I think the Flame Strike's pretty strong here because you clear the board. And looking at Zozus' hand, he's got the Falnos, not very good right now. The Lotheb's good, but you keep your own Lotheb.
You need to run the Lothar though into the Wild Teacher if we want to get a full clear
Exactly,
off.
yeah.
So it's not particularly clean, I'd say. Thinking for a Kirin Tor and what a Miranti, probably wanting to get a mid-range minion to run into the Wild Teacher, but
what do you like here? Do you think the Flame Strike is a good play?
I don't think so actually. I would probably use that next turn.
We have many
But
secrets.
Salt's obviously not feeling in any need, like he doesn't feel afraid that he's gonna die. So he's just making a huge board here with the 4 freeze, and he's got the Shredder, which obviously recycles itself, and he keeps Lotheb after it's sprayed. So, but we do see a Blade Flurry, which could be a problem.
He just needs that, I guess the Deadly Poison, but he could also just go Thalnos and Fan for 3, because he has spell damage on the Azure Drake, and bumping that up to +2 spell damage with that Fan, making 3 damage. I mean, you could, yes, backstab for 4 now, with a huge clear.
And the Mirror Entity will only fetch him a card, which in this situation I suppose isn't too bad, because they were all going to get destroyed anyway, so at least he gets a bit of card draw out of it.
Yeah, I guess you could also backstab the thing that comes out of that sweater, I suppose.
Oh, so he gets the taunt.
Interesting here.
So he values his board here, decides to use his Alpha resource here to clear out that taunt. And he gets to rebuild his dagger ready for that Tinker's next turn. Oh, another unstable portal.
I think Flame Strike is the play here. It's a bit rough, but yeah.
At least it clears the board, and Tinker's is not as deadly without the Safety Deckhand.
It's getting a bit out of hand with a lot of spell damage. I mean, if you just slam down the scenarios, it would be an easy clear with +2 spell damage, I'd say. So
with not much effort, like he wouldn't need too many spells to complement that to clear the scenarios, because all the spell power that he'll get from the Blade Flurry. And speaking of an Eviscerate, that would have been catastrophic if he had decided to go for the scenarios.
We do see the Lotheb here.
I think Zozus is in a really comfortable position here. He's got the Blade Flurry, he's got the Tinkers, he's just got so many resources in his hand, and he can clear a board quite easily. And this is like I said, a mid-range mage. He needs his minions to do the work for him.
I mean, essentially here, if Sottle can't clear that Lotheb, it's essentially lights out for him, as we see the hand being, you know, the Deadly Poison, Tinkers, everything here, but scenarios might be a bit of a shock. Still,
He also seems unfazed by the scenarios.
I mean, he has everything to deal with, I suppose.
He gets the Tinkers.
You can zap the other Trent.
Oh, that's true, and he has the Eviscerate then. Oh, but you can
I
use
think
one.
he
needs
the
a
Blade
prep.
Flurry rather than the Vision.
Yeah, so I think.
There's many ways to get lethal here, I suppose.
So is that it? Is
Yeah,
Zozus
that's
gone through?
That's it. Zozus in the final.
Oh, Zozus has been performing exceptionally well this tournament.
Making good. Going 3-1 against Sottle.
It's unfortunate this way, but I'm also happy that Zozus went through. You know, I've been watching his games for most of this, for most of my casting actually, and I've been very impressed with what he's done with his decks and the plays he's made. He just seems like a very smart, well-rounded player.
But yeah, it's really sad for Sottle coming all this way from the qualifier. Both of these players have grinded through an absolute countless rounds to be here, and but they both at least go home with prize money, so it's not all bad for that.
Yeah, and I'm assuming Sottle, even though he may be disappointed with this result now, his overall result is very good for him, because this is his first LAN in Hearthstone, so this is a massive achievement for him anyway. You know, he can only go forward from here thinking, right, I got fourth at this LAN, I'm just going to get more results. I've got Insomnia coming up, so Sottle has proved that he is a strong player. He's got a lot of potential, and in the future, I think we're going to see him more in the top spots, especially in UK lands.
Absolutely, definitely a player to look out for now in the coming months. A strong ladder player as well, getting 34th in that last season.
And the audience gives an applause to Zozus. I bet he's feeling hyped. And he's got Firebat now. He's got the world champion, the ultimate test for him, really. He's ran through the gauntlet of qualifiers, invites, and now he comes to the end where he has to face the world champion. So this is going to be quite an exciting game for him. And I wonder what people are going to root for here, because obviously Firebat's an exceptional player. He is a champion in his own right, but the underdog is always the guy you want to see win.
He's also not a European, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. He is defending European soil right now. You don't want the Americans to come over and take our winnings, I guess. So yeah, Zozus is representing the EU right now in this tournament, and well, we'll see what happens. So yeah, so do you think what do you think of the Tempo Mage? Because that's been quite a talking point for this tournament. The Tempo Mage has been kind of an up and down deck with some of the players, and we had Nyria run it as well as Sottle. What do you think of it overall as a tournament deck within a Conquest format?
It seems excellent if the guy is not doing Oil Rogue, but about half of them aren't. So we're gonna see the final bracket coming up now. Now Firebat beating Nyman 3-1, and Zozus beating Sottle 3-1 now.
And Nyman is another exceptional player who's come up through the qualifier and really proven himself recently on ladder and in this tournament. So it was exciting to see Nyman do really well, getting top 4 here. And Sottle, again, another player of that caliber coming up and coming, doing well on ladder, streaming. It's really exciting to see these players. But now we're going to see a really exciting match between Firebat and Zozus in the grand finals.
We can take a break now and see you guys right back.